Hello everyone, my name's Craig. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be reading some Reddit stories while playing Minecraft. Now, the server that I'm playing on that you can see right now is actually available to the public, and you can join for free if you want at play.excaliburmc.net. Feel free to hop on and join if you like what you're seeing. Now, onto the stories. AITA for not warning people that a character in a friend's book was based on me. My best friend, Cass, is an author who has a few books out. There are bits and pieces of me and everyone else she loves and everything she does. But she wrote a character heavily based on me for her most recent book. Personality, appearance, some life events, etc. There is a love interest who is also based heavily on a friend of ours, Riley, in the same way. The characters end up together. We all met in college. Riley and I have also never dated, hooked up, or anything like that. I knew this was happening. We have a tradition where I read her third draft, but Riley is not a huge reader, so I never mentioned it to them. Same with my husband. The book came out, and I didn't even think about it because while the character is based on me, it is not me. Well, sometime later, we were at another friend's house when Riley was there. Cass asked Riley if they'd read the book. Riley said they were surprised to find out we ended up together and felt it was odd. My husband asked what Riley meant. Cass said the characters were based on us. My husband was surprised. They both asked why we didn't tell them ahead of time. Both of them feel blindsided and uncomfortable about it. I said that in my defense, I don't go spilling details about Cass's books in general. And again, the characters are not actually us. And most readers, unless they are the creepy fandom stalkery types, would have no way of knowing, should I have told them. Okay, so before I read any of the comments, I'm going to give my opinion on this. And personally, I believe, yes, you are the one in the wrong in this situation. The reason being is, although the characters are not real, they are heavily implied to be based on both you and your friend. And while you knew and you didn't care, right, your friend may have cared. Now, your husband, I could care less about his opinion, in all honesty. I think you probably should have told him, but it doesn't directly involve him, so I wouldn't say it's a big deal for him. But your friend absolutely should have been told. I mean, this character is directly based on them, so I would feel very weird too if there was a character written about me and I had no idea about it. Now let's read some comments. Despite the Nora says, as a writer, this is weird. You're not exactly in the wrong, but it's weird for your friend to write recognizably about you and hook you up with someone who's not your husband, and it's weird why you don't seem to get why Riley and your husband are bothered by this. Okay, yes, and I would agree with this commenter, mainly on the fact that it was so easy for your friend to read it and recognize it was about them that it should not have ever been written about them, and I feel like that's totally wrong of both of you to not even mention it to them. Devours Books 86 says, that's hella weird for your friend to write something like that, where you, a married individual, wind up with someone other than your husband. Then to top it off, that person you wound up with is in your friend group. Your friend is in the wrong. Why is she shipping two of her friends? Totally agree. Completely agree. Couldn't have put it better myself. It seems like the Reddit comments are pretty with me on this one, so I'm gonna just move on to the next story. Okay, we've got a relatively fresh one here. Am I in the wrong for being annoyed that chores are not done correctly? Hello all. My wife, 30, and I, 38, have been married for a few years. We split chores, and both of us are happy with the split. However, we recently moved into a much bigger house, and both of us had to take on more chores. But I am growing more and more annoyed day by day by the poor nature of which my wife does her chores. Instead of putting dirty dishes in the dishwasher, she leaves them in the sink for me to put in the dishwasher. When she does laundry, she overloads the washing machine, causing it to break, or adds too much soap, forcing me to redo the entire load. If she does load the dishwasher, she does it in a way that will jam the machine. blocking the cleaning arms. We have a lid on our garbage bin in the kitchen. Instead of throwing things away and closing the lid, she leaves it so the garbage spills out of the lid, even if the garbage is empty, leaving me to actually put it in. If the garbage is full, she keeps throwing stuff on top, causing it to overflow, the bag to rip, and leaving me to handle it. A bunch of stuff like this. I've spoken to her about this time and time again, shown her how loading the dishwasher/washing machine incorrectly can break it, begged her to throw garbage in the trash, not just leave it spilling or overflowing, and even asked her for a while if this was weaponized incompetence because I can't understand why this keeps happening. But she claims that she is trying her best and I'm a jerk for expecting things to be done my way, and it's unfair to constantly correct her. Am I in the wrong here? My wife is smart, and I just can't understand how after this many times of asking and showing her over and over again, these little things are done so poorly. Alright, so, my thoughts on this one. I believe it is kind of smart of you to ask your wife if this is weaponized incompetence, because it's like one of those classic moments in like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books where Roderick is like purposefully dropping the dishes on the floor so that he doesn't have to do the dishes. It seems kind of like that to me, not to psychoanalyze someone that obviously I have no relation to in real life. But to me, it feels like she's kind of doing it intentionally so that the original poster here will step in instead of her having to do anything. But no, as far as I can tell, I don't think the original poster is in the wrong here. There could be something bigger going on that I'm missing, but let's see what the comments think. The Littlest Dog 23 says, "Man, I don't know what to tell you because I dumped my boyfriend for this exact reason. But you're married, and it's not as simple as that. So I would suggest marriage counseling. This behavior is mind-boggling to me. She's doing it wrong on purpose. She knows she's doing it wrong. It's easy to do it right, but instead of just doing it right, she's digging her heels in and insisting on doing it her way, specifically, because you've asked her to do it properly. For me, this was so infuriating that it was a deal breaker. I'm not being with someone that breaks my appliances in order to prove that I'm not the boss of him or whatever the logic is. Anyways, not in the wrong. A marriage counselor will hopefully point out that there is an actual right and wrong way to handle appliances, and it's not controlling for you to want her to do it right. And in fact, it's rude and disrespectful to do it wrong on purpose." Totally and completely agree. That's actually an angle that I didn't even think about, is that potentially the wife is doing it in order to, gain some sense of control in the situation. I don't know. That's a great way to think about it. And this is why you have to read these comments, because these people, sometimes they have great insight that you don't have. 35 millimeters of regret says, "Not in the wrong. Just remember, you're not the only one dealing with this. There's an industry full of influencers making a living marketing content about stuff like this." When it comes to this comment, I'm a little confused what they're talking about. I'm sure they're talking about like the trad wife content and stuff like that, but it doesn't really like make a lot of sense for me, considering I don't think that it's necessarily being pushed so hard on the men. Unless maybe did I read this post wrong? No, yeah, it says my wife. So either, I guess they could both be women, but the way I was reading it, I assumed that the original poster was a man. So I don't know if the trad wife content is super heavily being pushed on the women's side necessarily. But then again, maybe they're talking about like the as he should type of content where it's like the women are like super not feminist, but like matriarchal. That's probably the correct term for that. But yeah, I guess that's probably what they're talking about, is the content where people are super matriarchal and they're pushing this pro-woman worldview onto everyone, when in reality it should be more, we're looking for equality rather than let's push this onto my partner because I don't want to do it. But yeah, no, let me know your guys' thoughts on that one, because that comment is a little confusing for me. Hey guys, I just wanted to say real quick, thanks for watching the video. It really helps a lot. If you really liked what you saw, feel free to go ahead and give me a like. And if you want to continue to see more content from me, please feel free to subscribe. Another way you can support the channel is to check out the Minecraft server, which I've been playing on throughout the entire video. That's play.excaliburmc.net on Java Edition. And yeah, Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.